Big Finish news update. We have a bumper edition of Big Finish news from Lost Stories, Fifth Doctor, Sixth, Seventh Doctor, Torchwood, and Jenny is still running. But let's dive into the biggest bit of news. The news I'm most excited to talk about is the Lost Stories are returning. The Lost Stories, in recent years, people have said have lost their way, with them sort of rehashing the season 12 stories. I'd argue they're quite fun, quirky curio pieces, but this is going back to the mission statement of the Lost Stories with Deathworld and Operation Werewolf.
Deathworld being the original submission for the Three Doctors, pre-Omega, pre-William Hartnell not quite being able to have the same capacity in the story as the second and third Doctors, pre-Fraser Hines proving unavailable, so having to be written out. This is the story as originally envisioned in the crazy minds of Bob Baker and Dave Martin, with the president of Gallifrey playing a chess game against death itself, which the first Three Doctors and companions have been caught up in, which is certainly a fairly out there premise.
It's very 70s, isn't it? It's very far out.
It's very much what you expect of Bob Baker and Dave Martin when you hear about some of their original early ideas, before they then get watered down both for budgetary concerns and also maybe this is a bit too mad for the British public. Maybe they're not quite ready for this. But we Big Finish listeners are.
It makes it a perfect candidate to be adapted by Big Finish because there are no budget restraints on audios. You can make it as big as you want or as cheap as you want.
I mean, one of my favourite is Nightmare Country, the Fifth Doctor Lost Story with Tegan and Turlough, which is one that was didn't go forward mainly because of budgetary concerns for that story, and that works out wonderfully. It's wonderfully 80s, but at the same time it gets to be bigger than the TV budget would have allowed it to be.
It's a very cerebral story, I'd say. If you like your Stephen Gallagher stories, you'll have a really good time with it, I think.
Yeah, and so I'm certainly excited for Deathworld from that perspective. I do find it funny that you have some people saying, oh, finally, proper Lost Stories, not just remakes of early drafts of TV stories. Like, Deathworld kind of is still that. I mean, admittedly, it is. I mean, the Ark is probably more of a proper, in quotation marks, Lost Stories, because that was a different writer's submission for the story before Robert Holmes basically did his version of the Ark in space. So I
think people are just very bitter about Dalek's Genesis of Terror.
Yeah, that's the main stinger, isn't it, for people? But you know, it was. Well, we're not going to get into that debate, but it was clearly advertised what it was. Whether you like what it was or not, I don't think there was a clickbaitiness on Big Finish's part there. But.
No, but Deathworld, it's so exciting. I remember back in 2013, Doctor Who magazine started a range of magazines called like The Essential, and then have like covering like characters, monsters, and there was one about the Doctors, and they had Deathworld in it, and reading about Deathworld and Six Doctors, and have a wonderful bit of artwork. It's been a story I've been longing to experience, and it's one what we've wanted when people have asked for Lost Stories we'd like to see. Deathworld's always come up, and we've always thought, how would they do it? Would it be David Bradley, Fraser Hines? But now with the beauty of this relaunch is we have two brilliant actors stepping into the role of the first and second Doctors now.
So
get the authentic...
very much in the same capacity that Tim Treloar has stepped into the third Doctor, isn't it?
Yes.
Whereas, sort of with Fraser and David Bradley, they were somewhat different kinds of recasts, I suppose.
Yes.
Whereas this is very much, channeling the authentic versions of those characters, where David Bradley is doing almost more his own take on the first Doctor. So I think it works. It feels right having these three as the combination they've gone for. And of course, John Coleshaw is absolutely brilliant as the Brigadier. But pitch perfect performance there.
I mean, not to undersell the other story, Operation Werewolf, which is
No,
six-parter.
definitely. I mean, that's probably the one that I'm more excited for of the two. We don't have a cover for that yet, sadly. So I think that's probably why Death World has drawn more attention, because there's something there visually to grasp onto,
and it's 3 Doctors as well.
Yeah, it's always going to be exciting. I think it probably works better that they've saved the reveal of the Operation Werewolf cover for now, because then when that drops, it'll be its own exciting event, rather than this is also here, but being overshadowed by Death World.
I mean, I imagine both stories will drop the same day, like they did with Doomsday Contract and Return of Cybermen.
I don't know, really. They've sort of been stepping away from that. I mean, certainly with the previous two, the Ark and Genesis of Terror, they did 2 separate months. And then you look at Torchwood Double, they were 2 separate days. So I feel like Big Finish at the moment is more in a place of, release one towards the start of the month, one towards the end of the month. Yeah. I mean, I'm almost surprised they were dropping the same month, really, because when you look at Sontarans versus Rutans and such, they have been more of the spread things out a bit now.
I mean, it's already a big month for the Second Doctor anyway, so...
Oh, yeah. I mean, 3 releases now, starring Michael Troughton and Fraser Hines as well. He's in all 3 of them too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's obviously got his Second Doctor Adventures box set, continuing the Beyond War Games arc. They started there with an older Jamie, following on from the James Robert McCrimmon box set. Not too many details about that yet.
I have a worrying feeling we're going to get old Zoe in that.
Yeah, we'll see. But we do have Zoe here, Wendy Padbury, presumably playing, the younger versions here, I would hope.
Yeah.
And this is very much what I want from the Second Doctor on Big Finish, to be honest. Just stories set during his TV run. Very much what the early adventures gave us. This, even more authentically so, being a story by Douglas Campfield and Robert Kitts that was submitted at the time, but they're a bit concerned about, again, budgetary, and also that it's a fairly sensitive topic, the Second World War, this close to it. In the 1960s, it was still very much a living memory for a lot of people. I mean, the First World War was still living memory for some people by then. So that's why this one didn't make it. I believe it was originally submitted around the time that Victoria was the companion. And so when I first saw this, I thought, is there a recast of Victoria in here? But no, it's Zoe, which I think makes perfect sense, because had this got into the production process, by that point, I think Victoria would have been on her way out and Zoe would have been on her way in. So had it been made, it probably would have been a Zoe one anyway, I believe. So, it makes perfect sense. Hopefully we get Zoe in like her War Games look. I feel like, cool. That coat would suit a cover like this quite well. It's a little detail. I'm not going to be miffed either way.
It feels like
it's
a nice...
just something that pops into my head as an image.
Yeah, like you've already crafted the cover in your own head. Yeah, I mean, this feels like a nice little throwback when we were getting into Big Finish, because I think the Lost Boys were pretty much wrapping up the year we got into Big Finish, and obviously it ended originally with the second, third Doctor and first Doctor.
Yeah. But now this is so much more through the recasts that they have, through the fact that they've embraced the full cast nature of these now, whereas those early Lost stories from 2013 and earlier were, if they were the first 3 Doctors, it was quite heavily narrated, even more so than the early adventures, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas now we're getting a full cast story with Michael Troughton alongside Fraser Hines and Wendy Padbury, set during the TV run. I'm excited. The Second Doctor Adventures box set can be whatever it wants to be now. I've got what I want.
You've got the Second Doctor you've wanted for a few years now, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. I know there's some people out there who have been a bit concerned about me, thinking, he says the Second Doctor's his favourite Doctor. Why is he not liking many Second Doctor stories? I mean, this isn't out yet. I might not like it. We'll come back
But
to
for
you
now,
with that. But for now, I'm
shows
excited
promise.
at least.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
good.
this has me excited. Thank you, Big Finish. I can't wait.
No, July is shaping up to be my most anticipated month of the year now.
Yeah,
We've got
It's
Opera coming up.
yeah. It's amazing how packed that month has slowly become with these 2 releases.
Yeah, just buzzing with excitement for those lost stories.
Yeah.
Something what I could be buzzing for, but I need further details for, and that is Jenny's back for Series 3 in Saving Time. Now, I've picked up the other 2 Jenny box sets. I've not listened to the second one, still running.
I feel like you'll need to before this one.
Yes.
I mean, there's a pretty big spoiler in the article for this one about
maybe
that.
it's been out for 3 years.
The
so
premise.
it's my own fault.
Yeah.
Listening.
I mean, were you spoiled by this, or did you know already anyway?
I didn't. To be honest, I didn't know.
Oh, really?
I didn't know.
It's something I knew, but I can't remember where from. I just know I knew it.
But yeah, we've got 4 stories, all by different writers, which is quite cool.
Yeah, I think quite a few of them have written for Jenny before.
Yeah. Not really much we can say on it right now because we don't have any story details, only titles.
I mean, some interesting titles in there. It sort of seems to be going down the comedy route, which I think has been Jenny's thing anyway.
Yeah, especially with like Calamity Jenny. With Matt
Yeah, I mean, this is due October 2024. I mean, running up until then, we've got news on some Torchwood releases starting in July and then going through to October. We have Art Decadence by Ash Darby, which is 1920s, roaring 20s Torchwood. So, we're exploring a new era of Torchwood era. It's something they've been doing quite a bit recently. Are you tempted by that at all?
Not really. I feel like my hand's been burnt from Double. So I'm very cautious on what I want to commit with Torchwood.
Yeah. I'm sort of unsure on it at the moment. It feels like it could either go quite serious and gritty with a bit of fun as well, get the balance right, or it could go full on send up. We'll see on that one. We then got Endgame, which is the return of Tosh. That one's written by Tom Black, a new writer to Big Finish. And it seems like quite an interesting release about a simulation of an apocalypse, pretty much. With Tosh being caught up in that. So I think that could be quite an interesting story. Tosh seems to have a lot of the high concept ones, I suppose.
Yeah. Yes.
And a lot of the ones that get a good amount of praise as well. I mean, you've got that Torchwood Cascade CD Rip.Tour release, which, certainly is poking a lot of fun there. But yeah, she always sees the Black Mirror style ones, I think, is what Tosh gets.
Yeah.
Then you've got The Hollow Choir, which is starring Kai Owen as Reese, set in some caves where some explorers or students rather, have gone exploring. But they've got lost. Someone needs to rescue them. It's down to Reese, and he has a map. That seems like an interesting one. I've not sold that very well. The Big Finish synopsis does a much better job of that, which is what it's paid to do. But yeah, written by some horror writers, Malcolm Devlin and Helen Marshall. So making their Big Finish debut, but certainly have experience in this sort of genre. So yeah, that one again intrigues me. And finally, Widdershins, which I believe intrigues you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's Halloween Tortured by Guy Adams, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's unclear quite when this is set. It doesn't seem to have any original cast members in it. Yeah, it's about someone who once tried to raise the devil. He didn't quite do that. Something else happened, and now it seems Torchwood is trying to ruin his life. Yeah, it's all like one of those outside perspectives of Torchwood interest experience, because I think Torchwood has always been quite morally grey. So this is going to be one where they're sort of more the antagonistic force in the story. 4 releases there, carrying us through to October.
But we need
I
to
hope
go
we
beyond.
get.
Oh, go on.
I hope we get a Christmas one in December though. Again, that'd be nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice to finally get those, because that's been normally a regular pickup for me.
And I also know what I want thanks to Tube Strike. There's a funny little reference to the work Christmas party.
Okay.
So I think it would be nice to have a Tortured One Christmas party as the Christmas release for this year. You were mentioning Going Beyond, weren't you?
Yeah, I think we need to go to the Great Beyond, as we have the second Fifth Doctor box set details, where we're continuing the season 19 TARDIS team with a 6-parter by James Kettle.
Yes. I mean, that seems to be the way for the Fifth Doctor adventures at the moment. Like last year, we had 2 box sets with Fifth Doctor, Nyssa, and Tegan set, the season 20 crew.
Yeah.
So I think if you're getting them for the first box set of next year, whoever it ends up being, perhaps Turlough, Tegan, and the Fifth Doctor, you can guarantee there'll be the second one. We'll see.
I mean, there was something quite nice being hopeful that we'd get Turlough, because we'll have season 19 with Dream Team, season 20 with Goth Opera, then the September slot you'd get your season 21 bunch with Turlough, but alas, no.
I mean, we say alas, it's still quite exciting.
Oh, yeah, James Kettle wrote one of my favourite Fifth Doctor audios, Blazing Hour. And this cover has the same feeling of that. So I think the world building is going to be incredible, and being a 6-parter, I think it's going to be incredibly immersive.
It's going beyond what they could do on TV, isn't it? Because we never went over 4 episodes with this crew, or any Fifth Doctor story for that matter. And so with this box set format now, it's nice that we get that variety. We're getting our 2-parters. We've got some 3-parters. They like mixing things up with the Fifth Doctor.
Yeah.
And yeah, it makes me excited for what this one has to offer. But yeah, the cover art, which is absolutely gorgeous, one
really
of the best
stunning.
of the year, is by Rafe Wallbank, who seems to be taking over the Fifth Doctor adventures now from Ryan Aplin, who did the Dream Team cover art, which is another gorgeous cover. Big Finish has some splendid artists. But yeah, he also did Rafe Wallbank, that is. He also did the Meanwhile Turlough interlude cover, and then put out on Twitter saying about, it's wonderful getting to do covers for his favourite Doctor now. You could certainly see that love has gone into this one. But yeah, so I wonder if that means that he is going to be doing them going forward, which I certainly wouldn't complain about, because, again, gorgeous cover art. And also, for a while, it seemed like Rafe Wallbank was having his series taken away from him a bit. Like, he did a couple of River Song covers, and then Sean Longmore did the Orphan Quartet. He was doing the 8th Doctor Adventures, and then Sean Longmore started doing those. It all seems to be Sean Longmore coming along and nicking his covers. But yeah, it's nice to see that Big Finish haven't stopped using him as an artist. They're just mixing up their artists to different ranges, which, I'd say the more the merrier, because it's wonderful getting these different styles with different Doctors. And I think his style certainly suits the 5th Doctor rather nicely. Again, absolutely gorgeous cover. We don't have a cover for what we're going to talk about next, though, but we do have some 6th Doctor details. Trials of a Time Lord, starring Colin Baker, Bonnie Langford, and Nicola Bryan. It's another celebration of 40 years of the 6th Doctor. We've had the Quinn Dilemma, pun on the Twin Dilemma. Now we've got a pun on the Trial of a Time Lord.
With no trial scenes.
No trial scenes. This is something a little bit different. It's a 6-parter by 3 different writers, though. So, again, sort of another Trial of a Time Lord parallel there, because that was, one big 14-parter, but by different writers for different parts. Parts 1 and 2 are by Rashana Patel, parts 3 and 4 by Catherine Armitage, and parts 5 and 6 by Stuart Pringle, who first time writing alone, kind of alone, because obviously he's doing this with Catherine Armitage and Roshana Patel, but usually it's a husband and wife duo with him and Laura Mooney for these. So, yeah, it'd be interesting seeing how he does there.
I mean, Roshana Patel's wrote a story from Bernie Summerfield, Blood and Steel, so she's wrote The Cybermen before. So that's quite exciting, and that was quite a bleak box set. So I'm hoping this is the same, and could this be the end of older Perry? Could this be
because it's
wrapping up this arc?
Because it does look like it's going to be the Doctor traveling with Mel, and then they're bumping into Perry at some point, and of course David Banks as the cyber leader as well.
Excellent.
It's what we like to see.
It's been a long time coming. Since 2018, we had Hour of a Cybermen, then we had the Fifth Doctor with Warzone and Conversion. We had an 80s Cyberman in Silver and Ice, but it's Nick Briggs, so it's nice to see David Banks return.
Very nice. I mean, speaking of returning, someone who's not returning for this is Jacqueline Rayner, who produced the Sixth Doctor Adventures from Waterworlds to the Queen Dilemma. I don't know whether she's just sitting this one out, or if Jonathan S. Powell, who is the producer for this set, is now, and director for this set, is now taken over completely for the Sixth Doctor Adventures. He's not done anything before this for Big Finish, so a bit of an unknown quantity there, but we'll see. We've still got Rob Valentine as script editor. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, anything with Cybermen I get quite excited for.
Yeah, particularly these Cybermen. Cybermen, David Banks, hearing that voice again. It's, as you say, it's excellent. And finally, for this video, we have a cover for the Seventh Doctor Last Day Part 2. Which is a rather wonderful little cover. I
say it's an improvement on Part 1, because you actually get glimpses of the story instead of floating heads.
It gives you a bit more of a flavour.
We thought that this could be like a Connections and What Lies Inside, where the covers sort of line up. Obviously, that's out the window now.
It's funny, because in a way I'm like, yay, we've got a much nicer cover here for Part 2. Not that there was anything particularly wrong with Part 1, but it was just a bit bland, I suppose.
There's nothing to sink your teeth into going, okay, this seems like a quite exciting story from what I can tell by the cover. Yeah,
you can't get a visual identity of the story from it.
Yeah, you can't. You've not got your gateway to help you imagine what worlds are being created within this.
I think, going way back to the start of the video when we talked about Death World, the wonderful thing about that cover is it's practically a synopsis in itself.
Yeah,
like, it tells you a lot there. But yeah, this cover for Part 2, well, on the one hand, it's a shame it doesn't quite line up with the Part 1 style of cover. It's also a wonderful cover in itself, so I'm sort of a bit conflicted there. It's like, ooh, it doesn't line up, but also it's much nicer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Last Day Part 2 itself, I'm excited for.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. Like, Part 1, there was an idea there. Part 2 is where this story lives or dies.
Yeah, so like, Part 1, there's a lot of setup going on, getting the chess pieces into place. But yeah, hopefully it can all land in the right place. But I've been feeling going back to Part 1, to be fair.
I definitely am going to do Part 1, because I feel like it's such a interconnected story. You need to do your homework to enjoy it.
Which is unfortunate, but
yeah,
hopefully, at least if we put in the work, we will enjoy it. We'll see if it's worthwhile or not. But yeah, we'll be coming at you with a review of both of those together sometime next month, or perhaps the month after. Depends quite when in June this releases
drops,
and how much time we have to listen to it. Yeah. I think that is all the news we have for today. There has been a lot,
Hmm.
and it's been wonderful talking about it all with you.
It's been great. It's been great. So hopefully we get more exciting news. I think we're probably in for a little bit of a dry spell now. We're ramping up to Shooty, so I think the news will be sort of trickling through. I don't think we're going to get any big revelations. So I think this was the last big week for the news, really. I could be wrong.
We'll see. I mean, we still got Second Doctor to be revealed. Because I don't think they'll be waiting all the way until after Shooty wraps up to give us those details, because that'll be mid-June, and the box set's due for July. Unless they're delaying the box set. Maybe that's why we're getting so much Second Doctor through Lost Stories, is to sort of make up for that delay. I mean, switch it around with Great Beyond, perhaps.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But yeah,
We're rambling.
Thank everyone for watching.
We've taken up enough of your time now.
Yeah, plenty of that. And we'll see whatever video we do next, whether that's review, tier list, stream. We'll be back for more.
We will indeed. Take care, everyone. See you then.
Bye-bye.